Hi Sagittarius, I just finished your reading. Well, this is really interesting. It is going really deep and looking really hard and looking at the little details, unrequited love and separation, codependency. You are realizing that you don't want to continue and you don't want to go through certain kind of like ways and pains that used to be. But at the same time, you also want to get to be this emperor and to this empress and to kind of like feel and fly on the wings of love. So, shall we start? Hi Sagittarians, and welcome to your reading. This is like for transition of Gemini, and this kind of runs from the 21st of May to 21st of June. And again, guys, this is a general reading, so it is catering to many. So hence, just make sure you also look at your rising sign and look at your moon sign. And if you're cross-watching, check their Mars sign as well. In the description, you're going to see the link for free natal chart. So if you don't know those kind of like positioning, it is really good to find out. So the reason why I'm saying this, it's like you can actually check a little bit from everything, because sometimes ascendant resonates more than the others, depending on the energy that I get. So, sorry, let's start. The very first card that you got was Winter Solstice, and I was kind of giggling while I was shuffling the rest of the cards because it's talking about reflection. And this transition for you is the opposite side of you. There is like this Gemini Sagittarius axis that is happening, and this is actually really more than winter solstice for you. This is really probably the weakest point for you in this entire year, so it kind of does make sense to kind of like slow down a little bit, right? It's kind of like a midpoint of winter, and I think it will be my Australian friends and anybody who is like in South Africa that I have viewers from there as well, who probably will resonate with this very, very strongly, because actually they are going through winter right now, and really at the very end of this transition, they're going to have winter solstice. For the rest of us, is going to be sort of like metaphor about that. So this is kind of like that midpoint of winter, which is not only the shortest day of a year, but also is the longest night, right? So that's why we have, at least here in Northern Hemisphere, festivals of light, and we're celebrating and have been for thousands of years, because it's serving as a reminder that the light will return. And there is that perpetual duality, bad and good, light and dark, good and evil, and it's continuously happening, right? So, you know, this is even going back to Sun King, right? Including the Christian story of Jesus' birth, representing the hope of renewal from the darkest period of the solar cycle. So I really think that in this image, as if you are really looking at it closely, we see really powerful representation, because it's a clear reflection of snowy woods. And for me, who is like right now in a warmth, just about to start summer, this really feels like watching at the air conditioning. So we all kind of like get this feeling. We kind of like don't want to disturb what's going on here in basically this painting. I really think that there is like a review time for you to review the past year, or even deeper and longer, and ask yourself what the most important lessons you have had to learn are. What have you accomplished? And what dreams and visions you want to manifest in the upcoming year. Because whether it has been a relatively smooth ride or a challenging series of events, it is like really good time to acknowledge your experience as being the work, right, of some higher source, or some kind of energy, no matter what your judgments, fears, or even joys are. It is time to honor whatever happened over the previous, not only months, but years, with both gratitude and forgiveness. This is the card of reflection, because when you feel complete of these thought processes, reflect on your present life, especially focusing on what you're grateful for. And when you finish, consider what is to come and all those different possibilities of potential that exist before you. Allow allow your imagination to kind of like really guide you in this. You guys are this free thinking sign that can really kind of like open your wings and fly. You are represented in tarot with the Temperance, which is an angel with big wings. It is almost like a gestation cycle over here that we are actually right now experiencing. There is like something that is going on, and the first card that came out here was deception. Deception. Somebody wearing a mask. Maybe there was a situation that kind of like got you into this kind of like downward kind of like cycle where maybe you didn't stop and smell the roses, because sometimes we just have to keep going because maybe there are things coming in our way that we have to address and deal with. But there are definitely some kind of like romantic feelings over here that either are budding and starting to grow, or they're still connecting to someone from the past. Like, you're getting 2 fours, with one being major arcana, major secrets. It is like sort of like when destiny says, this is obligatory, and this is like if you wish, right? So let's talk about the Emperor a little bit, because like it's really important. It's like usually belonging to Aries, but it's also having that fiery component that you have as well, right? The Emperor is the complement to the Empress, right? And represents the father figure, really, which kind of like rules wisdom, order, authority, power, and control, right? And hence, this is talking about structure and material world, and it's kind of like balancing the Empress's abundance and pure instinct. Sagittarians, what happened to your father figure in your life? Was there something that maybe is affecting you to be able to really express who you are? On an emotional level, the Emperor card symbolizes confirmation of established feelings and self-respect. I think on some level you feel either that others deceived you, or possibly that you're not willing, or you're feeling maybe even embarrassed to be who you are. Why is that, Sagis? Because the Emperor is a wise man who is well in control of himself, and you're getting there. He relies upon his own intellect when making decisions, and he is not easily influenced by others. There is somebody who is well respected and who often holds a position of power and authority. If you guys are looking for a new job, if you are on some kind of level trying to move to the next stage, whether this is a relationship or like you had it like whiff of new romance in the air, or simply moving forward means moving away for something that kind of like was holding you down, this is a really good time, because that's also what means 4 wands. There is like this fire, and this is very unusual, given that, you know, you are right now like really in that cold processing part of the year, right? But there is like still here really ability for you to be, even for you ladies, Emperor is you as well, to be a mother and to be a father. And since we just finished Mother's Day, I think this is really talking about upcoming Father's Day, that is sort of like really giving you a pause. You're probably asking yourself if you have been a good father, or maybe if you're female, you're asking yourself if your mate has been a good father or, you know, husband. It is like somebody who really has to kind of like provide that sacred masculine, as they call about. Or maybe it is simply suggesting that if you're a lady and this represents you, that maybe you need to kind of like take a little bit more, let's say, aggressive approach. Maybe you tried soft and sweet, you know, sugar and spice, but this is asking you to kind of like really reaffirm yourself. And I think this is going to happen after kind of really looking in this, what mirror tells you back, this reflection. Mirror, mirror on the wall, tell me who is the fairest of them all. But that was a witch talking. So maybe you have to face the witch in the mirror, because we all have those shadow parts. Figure out what it was, and figure out if it contributed to any situation, or if somebody was behaving toward you that way, and hence you feel burned, you feel deceived. Maybe there is a circumstance from the past that kind of you couldn't let go of, that you couldn't move forward, because it was like almost like all encompassing for you, to you. But you will, guys. There is like a new feeling of safety, a new feeling of security that is really coming, and that you will be able to kind of like finally embark. So from now on, the light is coming. This darkest night is finally getting over. This is period of this 30 days is like really to sort things out for you. So let's see what we have on the bottom of the deck. So we have, this could be one, lovely, and it says you have already met the romantic partner you seek, and the wedding. Well, is there somebody you're married with, or you want to marry? Or is there a talk about, you know, maybe phasing out one relationship for the other, or even renewing your vows and feeling, okay, you know what, I'm going to tell you I'm falling in love with you all over again. And this is like that feeling of that tiredness. You guys will be very tired during this period. Yeah, you're going to kind of like start shifting gears toward, like, I mean, mid-June, but you might feel that as a part of sorting things out would be maybe things at home, because this wedding I see over here as well. So this can actually talk about children. This can talk about what kind of person you are, what kind of parent you are, and also in which kind of direction do you want to go. This card talks about, hey, you know what, you really, you know, shouldn't give up. It's like somebody who is, whether, like, it could be somebody who is not receptive to getting what is basically offered, or maybe who is like just keep waiting for something else to come, or maybe missing an opportunity because of not being active. So just like be careful about that, because it looks like there is like still a sense of that feeling that you are getting, that, you know, everybody's against you. But could that be the case? Or somebody's telling you, look, you know, I just like sometimes feel that I just like cannot get up, I keep falling down. You have to figure it out to get out of this cycle, because that is something that is kind of like really finalizing, like new cycle is coming. So let's start. You have pay attention to the red flags, forgiving and learning, playfulness, separation, interestingly, this is like what I felt, unrequited love, chemistry, past life relationship, release your ex, getting to know each other, and codependency. I'm gonna leave these two cards because I really felt they were important, and now I even feel a little bit more. So you have here 3 of Wands, Ace of Pentacles reversed, Knave of Swords reversed, 8 of Pentacles. Here is the Empress showing up, and here we have the Death. Here we have 8 of Cups. Here we have 5 of Pentacles reversed. 3 of Swords. And Knave of Pentacles. Just generally looking, Sagittarius, it sounds to me that there is like something brewing underneath you, like in that winter solstice card, and it's kind of like something, thoughts were coming through my head as I was kind of like laying the cards down, because the lake could be frozen on the surface, but underneath is still kind of flowing. So maybe you kind of like sealed something on the top, you know, like when we kind of like put a band-aid on something, but the wound is still there. It's just like hidden, or maybe we don't even want to say it's there. We're kind of like, oh, we dealt with it. But I don't think something is dealt with it entirely. You probably focused yourself on your work. You kind of like focused yourself on stabilizing, because it sounds to me something has been very destabilizing. This could be the one in wedding. You have been in a situation where something was really so important, that important that you really wanted to go all the way. You kind of had your empress and you were the emperor. And I think somebody pulled that rug under your feet and left you out in the cold. And you cannot let go. There is like a problem of letting go. There was like this separation in the past, which is like now asking you to kind of like release it once and for all. You kind of like are still possibly checking on this person, or still thinking about this person. It could have been something that was not maybe what you thought it would happen, because there is like this mental connection still. And if you're thinking about this person is also thinking about you. But I also have a feeling there was like more than one extra person, because like whenever we have 3 of Swords, somebody else is showing up. So let's go in a little bit more details. There you are. You have lost yourself in the past. You were standing your ground over something. This could have been harsh words. This could be somebody spying. This could be somebody checking. This could be somebody stalking. This could be somebody creating some kind of shenanigans. And, you know, it kind of like came to that polarization, an impasse, where things couldn't be resolved. You felt they could be resolved. You kind of like felt you were just right there. You felt, hey, I'm just about to release this, release myself from the past and start moving to that future. But it doesn't look like, if this resulted in separation, that kind of like was a feeling that was kind of that encompassing feeling after all. You really wanted to build something. You really gave your heart to it. You really felt important in that relationship. You really felt, finally, I deserve this. I want this. But there were issues on that level, because obviously there were things that you didn't see eye to eye, and but for some reason there was no balance over here as a result of this. I think what you're missing right now is playfulness. You generally are a playful sign. You generally like your freedom. You just generally like to explore things. But this again, just like the Emperor is telling me, you kind of like more or less started to just function. You were, okay, you know what, like 7 days in a week. On Monday I'm doing this. On Tuesday I'm doing this. On Wednesday. You structured your life. Maybe as a result to kind of like get that firm foundation back. Get a sense of who you are. Something really shook you to the core. Look at this, you have a second 8 and 9. Something has stopped. Something that has been going on so steadily, so solidly, so comfortably, just stopped. and somebody just didn't want to continue with this. That was just like you haven't heard from them, and they are not fighting anymore for you, or maybe even for themselves. And I think something here woke you up, and this is why it feels so bad. You're saying like, why did you even bother waking me up if you render me blind right after that? Right now I'm suffering, and it was like really bad before, but now it's much, much worse. And I think this is what is really kind of like feeling that is kind of like hurting over here. And then I think being kind of like an adult, you said, okay, you know what, it is what it is. I have to keep moving forward. I have to see, and you kind of like start aiming, you being an archer, toward new goals, toward new kind of horizons, toward new friendships. But it's kind of like really hard. It's almost like you want to make it. This is wands, just like your sign. It's kind of like active. You feel, if I just think through it, I'm going to get there. And that always worked for you in the past. But it's not working now. So let's see why. You're lonely. You like the things that you before could, it's almost like that somebody ripped a part of you. You have like 2 9s. You maybe had a soulmate. You know, I see that sometimes with those split souls, where, you know, it's one soul that splits in 2 parts, when the soul actually becomes so advanced, and now these 2 parts are kind of developing this more, and that you met these 2 separate parts, and it feels, oh my gosh, this is missing. I know now. Because you just simply can't. You want, but you can't move forward. But you don't want to go backward. So it's kind of like a weird situation. You kind of like going backward would feel like, this is not for me. This kind of was there. You guys don't like to go back. You kind of like figure out if something is not working out, it's not working out for a reason. But this is why this is even more puzzling, because you cannot stop feeling how intense certain things were, and how you kind of like seeing the rest of your life with possibly this person, or it's kind of like you were building that little piece of paradise for yourself. But it is telling you, look, you need to heal the past. You need to heal the past because love exists. Maybe something kind of reached that end in that particular situation, but it's not the end of the story. You have built big walls, Sagittarians. I mean, or something happened that walls got erected, whether it was you or somebody else. I think actually maybe even somebody else is the one who walled you out, and you felt really betrayed. You felt that, just as I said, a piece of you has been taken away. And it is just time to heal this wound. It is time to reclaim yourself. It's time to be who you are. It is time to pick yourself up, because I see a lots of like defeated energy over here. You're still having this worship of this person, unrequited love of that empress. Like, whether this is an emperor or empress, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. This is that perfect person. To you, this is creative. Somebody creative. Like, I mean, he or she was somebody romantic. You were showered with this like sacred feminine. And you see, both of these kind of cards are very interesting, because they're not typical queen. She's the queen of all queens, and he's the king of all kings. And yet, she's very strong. And yet, he also kind of rules with his heart. So it is kind of like really that mixture, which there is the separation of sacred feminine and sacred masculine. So this is like where there's like split souls that kind of like feel right coming back together. And for some reason, you're kind of still feeling, well, this is where I want to head. Look at this, they're crying over that love. This could have been a person who was an air sign, and who maybe was Taurus, or simply kind of like have been somebody who have been very intellectual, very smart, very sassy, or somebody who kind of like really enjoy nice things in life. And by default, by not being with them, you feel, well, something is wrong with me because this person has refined taste, or you're definitely really feeling a big miss. There's like still this chemistry though, and the romantic feelings, which when I initially saw that card, I thought there is somebody else. There's somebody new coming on the horizon, right? And here, this can mean that. Here you have like a really strong influence of water signs and also with fire signs, and not Sagittarians, other Aries and other Leo, which kind of like can be very amorous on a way. But there is a depth to it. Maybe you still have this chemistry with this old partner or somebody who left a big mark on you. You have been marked, you have been backstabbed, you felt you have died. And maybe you were alive, but you kind of like maybe felt like a zombie. There is like the transformation that that card is asking for. The transformation should kind of like keep going forward. But in this case, it's kind of like really hard for you. You're lost. The moon is the card that talks about not being able to find a way. That consciously, yes, you can move forward, you can react. But when you get into that place, when you're alone, and when, you know, you really are there to face yourself, that winter solstice mirror, mirror on the wall, you are really wondering if you ever will find somebody like this. And the moon can actually play games on you, because the moon is giving you shadows that don't really exist. It also feels that the transformation should be internal for you. That there is a realization of something that maybe you fooled yourself or somebody fooled you with something. And hence it's kind of like really need to understand that maybe you were not privy to everything. You know, when people break up with another person, they don't tell them everything. They might be candid, but generally is like to soften the blow, right? And hence you hear it's not you, it's me, kind of a thing. But I think you are really well aware of what has happened here and why. And this is like why you're feeling kind of like still puzzled, because I really see that you kind of like thought you were doing the right thing, but somehow that kind of like exploded. It just like was a big thing. Again, when I was putting these cards down, I kept getting the same message over and over again. Something was very karmic. Somebody walked away. Somebody, you know, who was extremely important. Not only now, but in past lives. This is like a definite soulmate, karmic soulmate over here. And there was like some kind of sacrifice you made, I think, Sagittarians. You knew that somebody walked away. I think somebody walked away from you. And I feel you got stuck. You felt, again, what I'm seeing before, I did the right thing. And this is it. Now I'm stuck because I did the right thing. And why am I stuck? The truth is that this is asking of you to kind of like see how your actions affect other people and how other people's actions can affect others. And to see really positioning from different various angles, and to really get unstuck. Certain things that sometimes cannot grow, even in the best possible circumstance, even like when you wanted things to grow, if the other person doesn't want it, or if they are guarded, or if they feel the flow is not there for them, you just cannot make that. The Hangman talks about the self-sacrifice when we kind of like really want to move forward and want to do better, want to get better. But when we also know that we have to give up something. So whether it was you who just want standing on your own position and didn't want to give up, or it was them, that was some kind of impasse, it is what it is. It is, as I said, crying over spilled milk at this stage. Like there are circumstances in life, sometimes it's for a reason, sometimes for a season, and sometimes it's for a lifetime, as they say. So this is the environment. There is, I think, a feeling for me that you're still thinking about your ex, and that your ex is still thinking about you. There are lots of question marks that both of you are sort of like mulling it over. What happened? And why it happened? And why did you do this to me? Why kind of like you have... I think both partners feel that they are the ones who are victims. They're the ones who are injured. It's kind of like they think will be releasing you in this period of time. Look at this, like the fives. Oh boy. And this is also a release your ex kind of card. So I think what happened here, there was lots of arguing. There's lots of arguing, never winning this argument, feeling devastated, feeling like down. I keep feeling lingering the third party in this. It could be that there is like the battle between, let's say, a love and reality. It could be that some of you are married, or you have been involved with somebody who's married or in a relationship, and they are literally chained. They are not in love there, but they are chained. And they can't move, or you couldn't move. Circumstances maybe not as fast as they wanted. So again, it takes two to tango, right? Because the Devil card talks about when some other people pull strings, and it always feels hard and harsh when this happens. It always feels like just being on the receiving end. So I think here this is again talking about exes. This is again talking about a partner who's controlling your life. But I think they're releasing this. There is like that also symbiotic relationship that I see over here. And they are actually releasing you. You will be able to reclaim yourself, and hence the stabilization finally can happen. I think you're still having that big why. Why did it happen? What did I not know about this person? What was the secret? Was there a secret in the situation? Who was the secret? Were you the secret? Were you keeping somebody a secret? Because that could actually play the role to the happiness. Yes. Maybe you're feeling guilty, or somebody's really feeling guilty over that. I really feel that kind of this rejection, somebody's really feeling bad about that. But somebody really didn't have a choice, because they kind of like felt, you know, they're not getting what they need to get. Because the World card reversed is not a good place to be. It is kind of coming back. So you guys want to move forward, because this is falling in your hopes and fears category. You want to move forward, but it's almost like rigidly keep circulating you back. You're pushing it, and you're getting worn out of pushing yourself out. And kind of like you're asking yourself, so how much longer is this going to last? They say time heals all wounds, but that's not true. It doesn't matter. I know relationships that lasted 30 years, and people are done in 3 months and healthy and moving on. And relationships that maybe just lasted 1 summer, and they leave that mark forever. And I think something like that here was happening, and the problem here is like why you keep coming back to why this didn't work out. What happened? Part of that is going to be really observing the situation, because there is like a definitely possibility of your new happiness and of moving forward over here. But you have to shake off this codependency. That was a codependent relationship. Maybe somebody was giver, another one was a taker, right? This is kind of like narcissist and somebody who's lonely. Maybe somebody kind of like fell and you helped them, and then they just like shunned you when, you know, they didn't need you anymore. Because this is asking you to make kind of like determination, make yourself a promise that you kind of like have to trust this. Whether this is an alcohol or drugs or working too much or being too intense or being neglectful toward people. But it is time to start moving forward in a completely new direction, in a completely better direction. I don't know, was it you who kind of juggled two people? Or this is like somebody who is married And this is kind of definitely talking about juggling. Maybe it was somebody modus operandi, kind of like, I just do this and I kind of start slow, but then I end up somehow in the situation that kind of like never works well for me. But the good news is that the King of Pentacles, very much like the Emperor, is somebody who is kind of solid. And again, this is like the Taurus kind of energy, which we are going right now through new moon in Taurus. It is about establishing ourselves with understanding who we really are. And that really means looking at good and bad parts of ourselves. So Sagis, I have actually taken one more card for you from the Enchanted Map, and you got Magical Map Shifter. Interestingly enough, somebody's juggling with eyes closed. So let's see what it says. Spirit orchestrates everyone's destiny. When the Magical Map Shifter card arrives, it comes with a mission to make you aware of the people who come into your life to impact your personal growth. Perhaps you may meet a soulmate whose presence invites you to be the best you that you can be, or someone who leads you out of difficulty and into a place of safety and success. Pay attention to those individuals who cross your path today and cause you to reflect on your journey. Be awake and aware, and you'll recognize them for the important change agents they are. Your whole perspective about who you are and when you're here will shift. The Magical Map Shifter always initiates you into a better version of yourself. And I think this is like a really good summary. I think you guys are really going to work towards stabilizing yourself on a good principle, because whether it is gone forever or it is something that can be revived, first and foremost, you have to figure out who you are. You have to figure out that you have the really clear picture of what the mirror is telling you, not just the picture that you want to see. And only after that, you can move forward with understanding that sometimes a bad word or even a silence can affect other person profoundly. And when we are aware of how we affect other people, then we are able to actually embark on a much more productive exchange where we are kind of like ripping those chains of codependency. So Sagis, it will be kind of really interesting to hear from you. And again, this might not be you. This is a general reading. To get your own reading, please book a reading through cattarot.ca. So check my specials as well. And please share, like, and subscribe. And you know that I like you. And I love you. I will love you if you come to Facebook and to the Instagram and check your daily horoscopes.